Welcome back to another episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. Roman is joining me today.
What's going on, guys?
Adam is here as well.
Hey, guys.
And today it is Crisis Club Monday. In this segment, we do every week. We talk about which teams in world sport are in the biggest crisis for that week. And we will not delay this episode. Adam, right into it. Who is the Crisis Club of the week? No surprises here.
This makes me very sad, but if you've been following the podcast for a while, you know that I'm a West Ham United fan, and this week,
unfortunately,
West Ham are my Crisis Club of the week. We started off the season quite well this year. We lost 5-0 to Man City at home. That's going to happen. Tied Brighton, and then we went 3 games in a row winning, so we were 3-1-1 to start the year. Things were looking good. All of a sudden, something happened. Shit hit the fan. We can't seem to really put any wins together. We've lost Crystal Palace, lost to Everton, tied Sheffield, lost to Newcastle, and this past week the melting point for me was losing 3-0 to Burnley.
And
we shouldn't be losing 3-0 to Burnley.
Sergio Roberto, or not Sergio Roberto, what's his name?
Roberto Jimenez volleyballed, smacked it into his own net.
That's his name, Roberto Jimenez?
Yes.
No.
He's known as Roberto. When Fabianski went down hurt, I thought everything's gonna be fine. We have an okay goalie backup. I tried for a while to support him.
Yeah, you came to me.
I came to Jacob. I think he's pretty good. I think he's gonna be okay. But the last 3 games, the last 3 out of 4 games, Everton, Newcastle, and Burnley, I cannot stand to watch him anymore. He's
on the real. Those are 3 very winnable games.
It's hard to watch because it's like a train wreck for me, where I want to look away but I can't because I love this club. And when you have a bum like Roberto in net, it's hard to support the team. Notable injuries we've had: Lanzini's out till the new year, which was bad because he just came back from injury.
Wasn't playing very well.
He was out of form. Noble just picked up an injury. Hopefully he's back.
That's big.
2 things I want to point out. One good and one bad. Antonio's supposed to be back for our next game against Tottenham. He loves this club. I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to start probably on the left. Felipe Anderson is my other note. He has played like dog shit this year. I hate watching him play. He doesn't create anything. I loved watching him play last year. He was fast on the ball, quick thinker, scored goals, but he can't seem to do anything right this year. Hasn't scored yet.
Why do you think that's the case? Why do you think Felipe Anderson's underperforming like this year?
I don't know. Same manager, different striker, similar to Arnautovic and Haller. He's still playing on the left. He's still getting game time. Lanzini's been in the middle. Snodgrass been in the middle. Yarmolenko not really. Antonio's, I don't know. I don't know what's changed because it seems like it's the exact same thing as it was last year.
I don't watch every West Ham game, so I don't know. Like, is he trying stuff differently? Like, is he playing differently? Is like stuff just not coming off? Is he just not quite there on like the first few steps on like the dribble?
It almost looks like he tries hard. He does, but he did try hard last year. And
he works hard.
He has a good work ethic. He comes back, but it just sloppy passes, poor dribbling, bad shot selection. It just nothing seems to be going right for Felipe Anderson.
Do you think it's starting to turn into a confidence issue a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if we need to bring some other people into starting 11 to maybe try to get him back in the game. Maybe bring up a very successful Nathan Holland, who can also play on the left.
He's playing in PL2 Division 2. I don't know if you can jump from the second tier of PL2
or
all the way up to.
Do we recall a Grady Diangana from West Brom who's having a phenomenal season?
I think that's the way you should go.
Absolutely, me too. January, we need to call him.
He was an exciting player when he did play last season.
2 more things. Upcoming schedule, not looking forward to.
Well,
Tottenham.
You just had your easy.
We just had our points, our games where we needed points. But I'm going to say this. Next 4 games are Tottenham, Chelsea, Wolves, Arsenal. 4 tough games. Mm-hmm. Last 2 seasons, we have underperformed against the bad teams, and we've performed quite well against the good teams. That seems what we consistently get points off United. Last couple seasons, United, Chelsea, Tottenham. Last year we beat Arsenal at home. Last year we tied Liverpool at home. So I'm hoping that the coming up against these big sides, playing in these bigger stadiums is going to boost the confidence of some of these players. One more thing I think needs to happen. I think Pellegrini needs to go. He doesn't seem to motivate the players. He doesn't seem to be very passionate for West Ham. And I've seen a lot of things on Reddit and Twitter, and it looks like a lot of these people want Pellegrini out.
I think one thing for Pellegrini is he's really stubborn in the sense that he won't change his formation when it's not working. Because remember when he was at Man City, he played a 4-4-2, like a flat 4-4-2. And like in the years where it didn't work, because 4-4-2 doesn't work in the modern game, like in almost every case. There's maybe some extreme cases like where Burnley can make it work, but typically 4-4-2 doesn't work. But he refused to change it. I think his stagnant 4-1-4-1 it really isn't doing West Ham any favors, especially when you have a hold-up striker like Allaire who needs support like when he brings it down. And I think that's part of the problem, his refusal to change his system. And I think it might be time for him to go. Quite honestly, I might be on the same page as you with that, because since they beat Man United 2-0, they lost to Oxford 4-0 in the League Cup. That's embarrassing. Tied Bournemouth, lost to Palace, lost to Everton, tied Sheffield, lost to Newcastle, lost to Burnley. So these are all lower tier teams that you really need your points off of that they have not gotten. Now they've put themselves in a chunk where there's a tough schedule. Like you said, the next 4 games are tough. Like
Liverpool 2 games after that.
Yeah.
Leicester after that.
They've really put themselves in a problem.
I think we definitely need Fabianski back.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. We need to sort out. We need him to be healthy. We need Antonio to be back. We just need consistent performances. And as long as I've been a West Ham fan, except for the first year, I've been supporting West Ham since 2015. Ever since that first season of supporting them when they came 7th, it's been inconsistent football the entire season. Going on long winning runs, going on long losing runs, playing well, playing poorly. All I want to see is some consistency.
Yeah,
I'm okay with not winning every game.
I remember we talked about, I forget which episode, we were talking about West Ham and how like they were doing so well. And you're talking about like, oh, I think they're in like a European spot. And you're talking about like, oh, but Adam, remember, every year West Ham go on a real awful run of form. And that's when the season's going to fall apart. And, well, I think we are in the midst of that, or maybe near the end. Hopefully for you.
I'm glad it's early on and we still have over half a season to go to try to maybe finish top 10, maybe win a bet with Roman. But
you're not winning that bet.
Roman, they're 3 points out of. They're 3 points out of 8.
Top 10.
Top 10, and Roman buys me a medium burrito from Quesada.
I think.
I want that burrito.
At this point in the season, the mid-table teams, like one win shoots you up like 5.
Places. Like United have 16 points. West Ham have 13, and
United,
they're like 8 points, 8 spots.
United are in 6th or 7th.
I think they're in 7th, and West Ham are in 16th.
Yeah.
And we have 13 points. Well,
yeah, let me look right now. United are in 7th with 16. West Ham in 16th was 13.
Yeah, so 3 points out of 7th. So as much as it's not going well for us, there's still opportunity there. I'm hoping.
Could be worse.
I'm hoping.
Could be Norwich. Could be Watford.
Allaire can start banging some goals like he was earlier on in the season. I'm hoping Antonio can bring his fiery.
Well, remember, Allaire's a service player. You don't give him the ball in the box.
If he doesn't get the ball, he's not going to score.
I mean, that's any striker.
I know. I'm saying he doesn't. He's not
going
to create much
in the box. One-time finish.
Okay.
But we'll move on. There's enough West Ham slander.
Oh my God.
Roman, who is the Crisis Club of the Week?
All right, I think we got to give it to any team that loses to the Dolphins at this point. So we're going to go to the Indianapolis Colts. Coming off of a 2-game losing streak, they lost to the Steelers right before that. And they weren't looking too bad. They had a couple decent wins. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Texans. Wow. And it's gone downhill. And a lot of it has to go to, I think, how underrated Jacoby Brissett has been this season. Mm-hmm. As soon as Jacoby Brissett goes down, they lose both those games.
Jacoby Brissett, they're starting QB
this
season.
Sorry. On the season, he's looking at... He threw 14 touchdowns on the season. And 3 interceptions.
And how many games?
Well, he's played that was week 9, so 8 and a bit.
Wow.
8 games, 9 and a bit games.
They played 9. But he didn't play the last game.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't play the last game.
But he didn't play the week before, did he?
Oh, did they already have their bye?
I'm not sure. I think Hoyer's played 2 games. Anyways, that's
Okay.
still, regardless,
Again,
that's impressive.
Let's go back. Not a bad backup in Brian Hoyer.
No.
Brian Hoyer was at the Texans for a while. Didn't do too bad for them.
Yeah, Hoyer's not a scrub.
He's not bad, but the last game, not the best. I think he threw 3 interceptions, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Colts. Yeah, 1 TD, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
204 yards. Ain't the best, and a lot of it of why they're losing has to go to how injured they are. T.Y. Hilton, arguably their best wide receiver, out. 3 to 4 weeks. Jacoby Brissett, out.
Yeah.
Their 2 starting safeties, out.
Yeah.
Justin Houston didn't play. They don't know why he didn't play. That's not been announced. He didn't play against the Dolphins. And, of course, with Colts, you have to look at their kicker. Vinatieri has been a kicker in the league for a very long time.
Yeah.
He's been good, but this guy's 46.
That's an old boy.
When they played
46?
Pitt, he's 46. He's got a couple rings, though.
Same age as my mom. Oh my gosh.
It's not that he's been playing terrible. It's just the last 2 games. Last game, he missed the
game winner.
PAT. No.
Oh.
Against Miami. He missed the extra point. Pittsburgh, he missed the game winner and the extra point.
And an extra point.
It's going downhill for them. They have a favorable schedule coming up.
Jacksonville, Houston, Tennessee, Tampa.
So with the Colts, it really depends on when Jacoby Brissett comes back.
I guess to a degree. I mean, the points they're putting up. I mean, 12 against the Dolphins, 24 against the Steelers, not bad. Then 15 against the Broncos. They did win that game. Only 15 against the Broncos. Like, their defense has been pretty stellar in this
they
run, but
hold the Chiefs to 13
I mean,
points.
they are only 5-4, which isn't that bad, and they're only 1 game back of the division lead, and they're playing they're coming up against the Texans soon, who are in first, was 6-3 record, but like those are 2 ugly losses in a row. And I know you're a Steelers fan, but in this season, you gotta be beating the Steelers if you want to contend for your division.
Steelers just beat the Rams.
That's the reality. I know they did.
We ain't looking terrible.
And again, that's a game that the Rams, if they want to compete, they have to win that game, especially in their division, how tight it is. And the Dolphins are one of the worst teams in the NFL.
They're not the worst. They're one of the worst.
They have the worst. They did have the worst defense in the NFL. They might not have that anymore. You only scored 12 points. There's a problem here that needs to be addressed. For a team, like, I know Andrew Luck is gone, but they were Super Bowl candidates, so they should still be winning these type of games.
100%. They should be beating the Dolphins. Everybody should beat.
I mean, if you're gonna be beating the
Dolphins.
Chiefs and not beating the Dolphins, is a problem.
Maybe not Cincy.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll move on again for the final team of the week. My presentation will be on the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked a
About
lot
time.
In preseason about how good these guys are going to be. I tipped them to be in about the 8th seed in the West, but I didn't think they'd make the playoffs. However, I did think they'd be close. Right now, they pose a lovely 2-7 record. They are not playing very well. Lonzo Ball isn't doing particularly well. I know that Zion Williamson is out, and that there's, they're one of their marquee players, but there are a lot of other players on. This is a great group of players in my opinion, and
They got a good roster. That's for sure.
there is a good roster. You brought in great players like J.J. Redick, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. Derek Favors, these are good assets.
They drafted
towards
Jackson
your
Hayes
team.
as well.
Jackson Hayes as well as another
Alexander
player.
Walker.
Jahlil Okafor.
Nikhil hasn't been that great. Jahlil Okafor, I mean, he hasn't been great at all
They
in
got
his
a good
career,
team,
but
though. They got a good team.
maybe
Henrich Williams.
Yeah, these are just names, Adam. But anyways, this team has enough talent to be doing better than they are without Zion. They're allowing 122 points per game. They just beat the Hornets, but they've lost to the Raptors, the Nets, the Thunder. They somehow beat the Nuggets.
That was a surprise.
Even though the Nuggets are high flying, they lost to the Warriors. They've lost to some poor teams, in games they should be winning. And Brandon Ingram, who is statistically playing the best right now with 26 points per game, is posing a net plus minus per 100 possession of minus 17. So even though his stats look so good, there's got to be a reason why when he's on the court the team is so sloppy. Why why is the team performing worse when he's on the court, even though he's putting up such formidable numbers? Because he's one of the MIP favorites. He's one of the top 2 with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now. I don't really understand what's going on. Like Drew Holiday as well. I keep saying that the GM and the ownership said that this is Drew Holiday's team, even with Zion, but Zion's not here, and Drew Holiday's only putting up 14 points per game. Last season, he put up 20 points per game. So there's definitely some problems that need to be addressed in New Orleans because this is not good enough for a team that wants to challenge for the playoffs. And they have the Rockets, the Clippers, the Heat coming up. Those are the next 3 games. So 3 very difficult games on the trot.
Not a favorable schedule.
No, not a favorable schedule at all. And it's going to be hard to turn this around. I mean, when Zion comes back, you still got maybe a month before he's back. He can try to turn it around, but you got to give him something to work with when he gets there. And I think that's it for this episode. I don't know who's the worst for this week.
It's got to be West Ham.
Who's the biggest?
You got to throw West Ham.
It might be West Ham.
3-0
to Burnley. I think I'm going to have to give it to West Ham for this week.
Hashtag Pellegrini out.
Okay.
Hashtag more Adam.
Hashtag more Adam.
No,
Hashtag solo Adam.
Hashtag Adam's Own Podcast. Look it up. Amateur Hour.
Yeah, but we'll end it there. Thank you for listening. If you have a team that you think should be on Christ Club, let us know at Amateur